Okay, so now let's have some fun with the DI. So, I mean, most mic preamps tend to have a DI input. It's not usually that exciting. Sometimes it's quite handy to have there, but, you know, whatever. On this, the DI is not only exciting, I feel like it's mandatory because running hardware synth through this does incredible things. So we're using a DSI Mofo at the moment, and we'll just be running some presets off that, and we want to listen to what's happening with the gain stage as well, start to overdrive the unit, and also hearing what the EQ does. So we'll start off with a beat like this. Actually, you'll hear as I start cranking up the gain, I'll be pulling the output level down as well, just to stop things clipping there. So just quite a tasty kind of thing. So we'll find, like, just going straight to extreme settings, adding the fat in there really starts to, you know, that's the sort of thing that can shake walls. And similarly, if we're going with the high EQ, we can start adding the bright in there, which is really adding the sizzle and snap to that as well. Of course, you can go halfway on there if need be. Also, if you have quite a dense mix, you can always filter it off, so it's just taking that narrow mid-range kind of effect from it. So setting it back to flat. Now I'll pull the output level down and we'll crank up the gain. First we'll go to 0, which is starting to drive the valve. As you can hear there, it's starting to really add some coloration, add some extra harmonics and things to it. We can go even further. I'll just be careful with that level there, and we'll which just adds so much more texture than what the sound creates on its own. And then from there we can also start having fun with these too. Okay, so now we're looking at so not using this as a preamp or a DI, but rather using it as an outboard device to treat existing submixers. So here we have some drums that were recorded. They're for a band called Cold Light of Day, and they were recorded at Hansa Studios in Berlin. So they were tracked by Vanya Hurfel on an SSL console, and so listening to them on their own. If I can find my cursor. So that's the straight drum mix as it is now. So we're leaving the Sebatron set at 18 plus on both channels, so we're driving the gain fairly hard, but we'll vary the amount of drive just by bringing up the mix that's going to here. So it's something like that. We're driving it fairly hard and we're hearing that coloration, but it's not really overdriving, but we can overdrive it, and let's do that. And so the other thing we can do too is to go the fat boost. Now when you do this, you'll probably often find like on a mix like this, the bass drums are starting to sort of fart out a bit, so we'll drop the kick drum level once we do this as well, but I'll show you what it's like first when it's really doing that. So going to fat, way too boomy, but and just comparing that to the straight dry mix, which now in comparison I'm starting to think sounds kind of gutless. So bringing in the Dual Plus mix. And I'll just show you what would happen with the high frequencies as well. Air 1, Air 2, bright, back to flat, and also just to see what the high cuts are like as well. And back to flat. And with the low end, just backing that off a bit. Bringing in a bit more kick drum with it. So I'm definitely liking it with the gain running hard and the deep on, but pulling the kick drum down a little bit. So yeah, I mean, you could run any sorts of buses you wanted through there as well, but that's just an example of what happens on drums.